Hello, welcome. Today I want to talk to you. I want to give you permission. You have permission to say no, even when everyone else is saying yes. If you're new here, I'm Cassandra Lowry. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. I have a free gift for you in the description below. It is a PDF with 14 declarations of who God says you are, and 3 verses to back each of those up, so you're not taking my word for it. You can go to God's word for it. The reason I want to give you this gift is because I know how powerful it is in your walk with Christ to know who God says you are. When you start to speak those out loud and hear and repeat those often, it's going to change you. It's going to renew your mind into believing who God says you are. And when you believe who God says you are, you love him more deeply, you treasure him more deeply, and it's just a much sweeter walk with him. So I encourage you, go grab that free PDF. You won't regret it. It will change your life if you continue to use it. Okay, so today we want to talk about permission to say no, even when everyone else is saying yes. I'm sure that I can find somebody to agree with me that there's so much pressure in today's world to have our kids involved in everything, right? I mean, they're only kids once. When else are they going to try it? What better time for them to try all the things than when they're kids? How will you ever know what they're good at if you don't let them try everything? But the problem is we start saying yes, all of a sudden we get stretched thin. Our family is stretched so thin that we barely recognize we're a family anymore. And we start just saying yes because there's so many good things to say yes to that we forget to actually ask God what he's called our family to. Because we're not all called to the same things. All of our kids have different talents, different gifts. And yes, we want to encourage those. But it doesn't mean that we have to say yes to everything. And just because something is good doesn't mean that it's right for our family. Or maybe it's just not right for our family in this season. Maybe it will be another time. I want to take a look at Deuteronomy 6, verses 1 through 9. Now this is a commandment, the statutes and the judgments which the Lord your God has commanded me to teach you, that you might do them in the land where you were going over to possess it, so that you and your son and your grandson might fear the Lord your God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command you, all the days of your life, and that your days may be prolonged. O Israel, you should listen and be careful to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may multiply greatly, just as the Lord, the God of your fathers, has promised you, in a land flowing with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. These words which I am commanding you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your sons, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontals on your forehead. You shall write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. Here we have an example of how we're just supposed to train up our children and disciple our children. But when we're rushing around, it's really hard to be intentional with our discipleship. We've got to have that margin, that time as a family to be able to disciple our children. We see so many times in like the feasts and the celebrations, even the memorials that are built throughout the Bible, especially the Old Testament, that the reason for them is so that we have that time to teach the next generation and the next generation, so that generations will not forget what God has done. They will not forget his word, his promises. it takes time with our children to be able to train them in those things, to disciple them in that way. It's hard to disciple your children if you're rushing around all the time because you've said yes to so many things. So when we say yes to something, we're saying no to something else. That's really what it comes down to. And when we say yes to all of the extracurricular activities, all of the things that are available for us or our kids to do, some of the things that we might say no to, some of them unintentionally, is knowing our children better. Less space, where we may be saying no to the space and the time for meaningful conversations with our children, with our spouses. Those are important. We may be saying no to intentional discipleship. We may be saying no to the physical capability of living out what God truly actually has called us to. Because rushing is physically exhausting as well. God did not design our bodies to go. He created the Sabbath for us, a gift for us. Rest is a gift, and we need to accept that gift as well. So those are some things that we may unintentionally say no to because we're saying yes to other things. We need to be intentional with our yeses. For us personally, as our children started getting old enough to do things, kind of the main rule that we had was each child was allowed to choose one extracurricular individual activity per year. Some of them chose sports, there was some dancing, there was different things. As they've gotten older, one of them now does a lot of harvesting, corn harvesting and stuff. That's kind of, it's his job, it's what he wants to go into for a career, but it's kind of taken the place as his extracurriculars as he's gotten older. Just some of those different types of things. But we limited it to one per child per year. And that was just what we felt we could handle. And with 5 kids, sometimes that was still a lot. We also then prioritized our homeschool group. This was something that the kids and I could all do together. It was a time for all of us to build relationships with other people, which we knew were vitally important, and is proven that way for sure. We have made some amazing friends through our homeschool groups that we've belonged to. And then it left room for other things like prioritizing church as a family. Showing up to church as a family was so important to us, and we just really appreciated being able to do that. And we attend church on Saturday nights, have for, 13, 14 years now. And when you get involved, if you say yes to a lot of things, Saturday nights are easy to get taken up by. So it took intention. And yes, there are times that we don't all make it, because there are things that you say yes to once in a while. But we make it a habit to try to show up together. And it allows that space to then do other things, show up to other activities as a family, or say yes to going on a trip as a family, those types of things. Later, as our kids started entering teen years and being able to drive themselves to places, it did open up the doors for them a little bit, because it didn't require as much of my time, but we were still intentional with it. We still didn't allow them to do everything because it still took them away from the family. So they did add a youth group, and we were okay with that. That wasn't something they did a lot when they were younger, but as they started driving themselves and stuff, that was something a few of them wanted to do together, so a few of them went to that. And so just being intentional, finding that spot for your family, because it's not the same for every family. what we did for us, what worked for us, may not work for your family, and that's okay. I'm just giving you an example of what we did so that you can, giving you permission to say no to all of the extra. And like the youth group thing, there's church things, even. There's gonna be good things because there's so many great things available to do. There really, really is. There's so many more things that I would love to do, but I know I don't have the margin to do it. So there's good things that you can say no to. Even church things that you can say no to, and it's going to be okay. You have permission to do that. You can't say yes to everything. It doesn't work. And just because you say no to something now doesn't mean that you have to say no to it forever. Like I said, we didn't do Wednesday night youth stuff for many years. But then later the kids expressed an interest and they wanted to do that. So you can say yes at a later time when it works better. It depends on your season. Depends on what God is calling you to at the time. It takes prayer. It takes prayer and intention. So spend time asking God, what are you calling our family to right now? I heard the idea, and I wish I would have embraced this when my kids were younger, because I love the idea so much of a family mission statement and how that directs your yeses and your nos so much easier. Just coming up with that family mission statement and then living by that. It can really help you direct your yeses and your nos to be intentional with how God is calling you, your family, to live. And it can look totally different than the rest of the world. It can look totally different than our family. It's okay because we're all individuals. God calls each of us to different things. He calls us to different things in different seasons. And that is part of that being in relationship with Him. So you are constantly revisiting that topic with Him. What's going to work for our family right now? But I just encourage you to that prayer. Ask God, what have you called our family to right now? What can we say no to? What should we be saying yes to? You don't have to do everything. Even if it feels like every single person around you is doing everything. You don't have to. We are not of this world. You're allowed to choose a slower, more intentional pace. It's a gift. It's a gift to you. It's a gift to your family. It'll be a gift to your children. They may not appreciate some of it in the time, and some that there were times where they did not appreciate the one extracurricular activity, but they lived through it, and it allowed time for us as a family. So I give you permission today. You have permission to say no, even when everyone else is saying yes. I hope that you'll give yourself that permission as well. Don't forget to grab that gift to build that relationship with God by being reminded of who He calls you, what the things He says about you. Grab that PDF. It is your gift from me because I know how much it changed my life, and I want that for you as well. Until next time, have an absolutely fabulous day. Bye.